lie anymore about who I am. And if somebody who supported me that much throughout my transition, coming back home from a war zone and becoming a regular citizen again, somebody who can make me a better person, who could make me a better family member, a better brother, a better son, a better leader who can understand my soldiers when they're going through their relationships or their breakups. Something that can make me a better soldier, knowing that there's the support there for me. Why would I lie about that? So I decided to tell, and I told my mom. And when I was back home, it was a very difficult decision. It was just this past January, and I moved back into my childhood room back in Orange County, California, and my mom, for about a week, was asking, when are you going to marry? When are you married? When are you married? Your older brother get married. When are you married? And I sat down with her and said, I have something very important to tell you. Okay, then you're going to tell me when you marry a Korean girl. Because literally it was like that. She would ask, what are you having for breakfast? And when are you going to marry a Korean girl? Where are you going for lunch? And when are you going to marry a Korean girl? Literally every 5 minutes. When are you going to marry a Korean girl? When are you going to make me some Korean grandbabies? I said, Mom, I'm not going to marry a Korean girl. I'm not attracted to Korean girls. And she almost started crying. She said, no, don't marry a white girl. I said, no, I'm not attracted to white girls. And I'm not attracted to girls. I'm attracted to men. I am gay. I was born that way. I have tried to change. I've prayed about it. It's not something that you choose. And she said, I love you. But gay doesn't exist. I don't know any gay people in Korea. And everything that Margaret Cho says was true. It's not just her. It was my mom too. She's not lying. She wasn't just making it up to get laughs. But for my mom, I realized that even though I had gone through this truth and come to terms with it after 28 years, she'd only had 28 seconds to deal with it. But I wanted to let her know that, I told my mom, I said, if you want to continue being proud of me and bragging about me, because she is incessant as she is about me marrying Korean girls, she's incessant about bragging about me. She said, my son went to West Point, and he in an army, and he's a tall Korean. And just bragging about how it's so wonderful to have a tall Korean son. She would never stop about this. And I said, if you want to continue bragging about me, I will let you. And if that means that I have to have a Korean wife and Korean babies, then I will do that. Listen, Mom, I will do that. I will let you have this big fat Korean wedding. You just have to tell every single person at the wedding that Dan is gay, and this is a big lie. This wedding is a big show, and you have to write it in English and Korean and Spanish, because I know you have some of your Spanish friends, and Arabic. She said, why are you going to invite all the Arab people to this wedding? She thought about it for a while, but because I said, but it would be a lie. And she thought about it real long and hard, and she said, I have my dress ready. And you can marry Julie, and you can marry Mary, or you can marry this. And she had a list of girls that I could marry. And I realized she is in this state of denial, and I have to hold her hand through this. I lived with them for 6 months, and we went through so much of these irrational conversations every day. One time, my dad, he got so irrational. It wasn't a problem when I been talking on CNN. He doesn't watch CNN. He doesn't watch Logo or 365 Gay. I know a lot of gay people don't even watch Logo or 365 Gay. I would say that my dad only got pissed when I started going on Korean Christian conservative radio shows and started talking about it. And he said, it is a big shame. It's a #1 sin. How you do this? It's a big no sinning in my face. I'm sorry, sometimes I'll have to have translators or maybe subtitles if I imitate my dad. He said, it's a big shame. It's the #1 sin. I'm losing so much face. How can I save face in our community if you continue doing this? And I told him, I've sat through your sermons all throughout growing up, and I'm living with you now. I'm still going to church with you. And you told me that the #1 sin was not accepting Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. All of a sudden, how you changing your tune on what's the greatest sin. And you said that the greatest command is not to love your neighbor as yourself. And you said that you should honor your father and your mother. And you said there's a commandment to never bear false witness to your neighbor. And how can I honor you? And how can I love you if I'm lying and bearing false witness to you? I'm telling you because I respect you, because I love you, and I don't want to wait. I don't think that you can save any face. I don't think that you can prevent yourself any shame if you're running around saying these things that are a lie. If you are basing your love relationship with me off of a foundation of deception, how do you save any face there? How do you have any face without integrity? My dad got irrational at many points, and at one point he said, "You're going to ruin your life. All the people who have AIDS in Africa, everybody in Africa have AIDS because the one president of Africa make a gay marriage legal." He said that all of the people in Africa have AIDS because one president of the continent of Africa made gay marriage legal. And I said, where do I begin responding to that? My mom is even worse. She's even more irrational. And throughout the months that I was living with him, it got very difficult. But I had to respond, "I'm not African!" My mom said something like, she said, "You're right, you're not African." The light bulb is sort of flickering. And my dad gets pissed and he says, "You're good at English, but you look at the Korean proverb. The fish, he swim this way. You fish like to swim this way, not swim this way. You swim this way, not this way." And I said, "I'm not a fish!" My mom said, "You're right, you're not a fish." And I was trying to find out, how am I going to message to some people who are never going to accept truth-telling because they're just uncomfortable with it. And sometimes the messaging is so difficult. How can you penetrate some of the minds of people who have been taught their entire lives that this is the truth, that this is what you have to believe? And this kind of discrimination is not only okay, but it's in the Bible to discriminate. And so I realized that my messaging had to be a little bit tough, and we had to be disciplined in what we were spreading and what we were telling people. But I knew that, in a way, in preparation for any of the interviews on Fox News or on any of the Christian conservative radio stations, Korean or otherwise, my dad was a pretty good drill sergeant when it comes to training for some of that messaging.